everybody, my good friend, Howard C. Commissioner Howard C. Medley, all of the people from the Washington police officers detail, all the people from the original foundation, because we didn't have no money. We had to go with what we had, and they got it wrong because they didn't know what they were doing. All the people from that earlier movie who helped us select Harold Washington, stand up so we can give you a round of applause and show you how much we appreciate what you did. What you did. What you accomplished. Sister Josie Childs, and to this distinguished committee, and to all of my old friends here, Brother Medley, the Tim Black, too many names to call, Paul Jakes and Little Myers, too many names to call, but you know who you are, and I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out. And Danny, I know Danny had to leave, but sometimes, is he still here, Danny Davis?
Yes,
my congressman. We haven't lost the love and feeling, it just went underground. It's still there.
All right.
So Bob Stocks is still there.
Okay.
When I look at the nation today, stay with me for just a little while. When I look at the nation today, I see contrast and conflict, contradiction, and confusion. When I look at the nation today, I see contrast and conflict, contradiction, and confusion. For we are still a people somewhere between servitude and liberation, somewhere between slavery and all-out chattel slavery. We are still not free. Go around and around and around in a circle, confusing movement with progress. We forget all of the lessons of the elders. The elders taught us that what goes around, where there's a will,
There's a way.
they taught us this. And the more things change,
The more they stay the same.
and here's one from Frederick Douglass that I want you to really, really take into your bosom, Brother Brookins. Beware, paraphrasing now, beware of old snakes in new skin.
Wow.
I didn't like that. That's Frederick Douglass. Even back in the 1800s, the old snakes in new skin. Beware of those. And so we've come here this morning to remind ourselves of where we've come from. We came from chattel slavery. They made us less than human.
Teach that.
We were human, and not just slavery where you're owned by somebody, but you were chattel slavery. They had to make us less than human. Had to declare in Dred Scott that we were not citizens, as those words were used in the Declaration of Independence and in the United States Constitution. We were not persons, and we had no rights which a white man was bound to respect. Don't get mad at me. Go see Roger B. Taney. But I'm so glad I know how to read. And you see, that's what happens with education. Education was that mechanism, that device which helped to free people. Not human, not a person, not a citizen, and 3/5 of a person in the United States Constitution. When you celebrate the Constitution, I want you to read it. When you celebrate the Declaration of Independence, I want you to read it. I want you to know what's in it. Even in 1863, when the Emancipation Proclamation was promulgated by a white supremacist. You don't believe what I'm saying? Then read the 1858 Lincoln-Douglas debates. I'm just putting it in context. Even though the Emancipation came to turn a few blacks loose, blacks were not given the right to get an education. Blacks were not given the right to have 40 acres and a mule. Blacks were not given the right to vote. For my young people, I want you to understand, you like 4-letter words? CeeLo Green said you like 4-letter words. Well, vote is a 4-letter word. And so when we look at voting and the power of the ballot, we realize that we didn't get the power of the ballot, we didn't get the vote, and once we got it, we didn't know what to do with it.
Look at that.
What is it about this thing called a vote? What is it about this thing that symbolically indicates that, well, this is important, it is you. The United States Supreme Court said in a participatory democracy, the most important right is the right to vote, because it protects all other rights. And so they had to deny the right to us to vote, because in the South, in many instances, blacks outnumbered whites 10-1. So if we were counted with the vote, then we could dominate the political process. And what is the political process? The political process is designed to protect the economic order.
Yes.
It's about money.
About money.
This democracy, hypocrisy that they talk about voting, America is not a democracy, it is a moneyocracy. It is a moneyocracy where billions and billions and billions of dollars are spent to give the impression that people like you, that people want you. That's what the symbol of the vote is. There is power in the ballot, there's power in the vote. And so we go to the polls, we don't vote. We go to the polls, we don't vote. Why do I say we don't vote even if we go to the polls? Because when we go to the polls to vote, we're voting for somebody else's agenda. We're voting for the benefit of somebody else and not for our own benefit. What we call creative selfishness. And so you see billions of dollars. Why are they spending billions of dollars on their elections? Why are they spending billions? Why are they donating billions to campaigns? Because they have an agenda. And when they vote and when they go into campaigns, they will get a return on their political capital.
That's right.
Don't stay with me. But we just go to the polls. We just want to vote. We vote for hope, history, and pride. Not contracts, jobs, schools, and education. We vote for somebody else's benefit. If we are going to break the shackles, if we're going to break these chains, then we've got to understand the electoral process. I have 4 steps for you. This is a class. This is what we did. This is how we taught with Harold Washington. And he taught, he was a master teacher.
That's right.
You need voter registration? Take this down. Because, you know, we may give you a test. You know, we believe in tests. I mean tests. You need voter registration to give you the power to vote. You need voter education to teach you how to vote, your own best interest. You need voter participation so that you turn out and vote. But then you need post-election participation. Once you've made the ballot, you have to go back and demand a return on your investment. The vote is a political investment in the political system. What is the return? So often we register to vote, come alive, October 5, we register people to vote. We educate to some extent, but we are susceptible to indoctrination. So they spend so much money on television, because y'all watch television. And y'all on the internet. And so if the television says it's all right, it is all right. If it ain't on TV, it ain't no good. So we educate to some extent. We participate, we turn out. The nation doesn't turn out. The presidential elections turn out 48%, 52% at most. The country doesn't vote. But we have found, with the power in the ballot, that if we turn out and we are educated and we know how to vote our own best interest, we can change things. We can really change things. How do I know that? From history. We know the past understand the president's plan for the future. Grant Hampton and Mount Clark were assassinated in 1969. The black community decided that Hanrahan would not be re-elected.
That's right.
The black vote, educated and able to go with his own agenda. Alistair Gale and many of you here, Leon Davis and other people taught black people how to split their vote. Vote for A on this office and B on the other one. Don't tell me if you educate our people, they can't follow it and make a difference for themselves. Dick Newhouse ran for mayor in 1975. We put Reverend Jackson on the ballot in 1971 to challenge the inequity between the number of signatures you needed for independents and regular Democrats and Republicans. But we use the power of the ballot, Tim. How was Bill Cousins elected? The power of the ballot. Whenever we have exercised that ballot for our own best interest, we bring about real change. And our people need to be educated about their own best interest. That's our challenge and our responsibility. That's what we did with Harold. New Palmer had plebiscites. We burned up Bethel. Even had a mock election that Harold won. Harold did not want to run for mayor.
He sure did. I heard that.
He did not want to run. I know that because he said that he wanted somebody else to run.
That's right.
So he said, I want 150,000 votes, a new voters. We got 250,000. So I need some money. Well, we get the money. He was dragged, kicking and screaming into the mayor's office because he loved being a legislator.
That's right.
He loved being a congressman.
He did.
But the people decided, oh, come on now. When the people come together and the people decide what the agenda is and decide who is going to carry it, then that's when the change comes. In the Montgomery boycott, the people selected Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't select the people.
That's right.
It was E.D. Nixon who started the Montgomery boycott. Young people, you need to know this history. Not that we want you to follow it, but use it as a blueprint. Use it to understand what we've done so we can educate you. Because every time you march, Black Lives Matter, Campaign Zero, every time you march, you're educating our people about what the issues are.
Yes.
Once you educate the people on what the issues are, then you can call them out to vote their own best interests. How many of you took a literacy test to qualify to vote? I did. 2.5 hours in Alabama in 1960 to determine what is due process lieu in the Constitution of the United States, 14th Amendment. I wrote that it's judicial inclusion and exclusion, whatever is fundamentally fair. And when I handed the registrar my paper, he looked at it and said, well, I guess you passed. He couldn't read my paper. He had it upside down. There's all of these obstacles that they put in the way of voting, because in voting there is power if you use the power for your own benefit. Whether it's a grandfather clause, whether it's a literacy test, whether it's a poll tax, whether it's a white primary, whether it's voter ID, or whatever they did to intimidate, whether it's lynching, which they did to keep us from voting. Read Ida B. Wells' Record of a Red Summer, or whether it was just killing, whatever it was. They did it to keep us from exercising the symbol, the ultimate symbol, at least by them, of what democracy is. Well, you got to vote. You got to vote. If you don't vote, then you betray the people who died for the vote. No one died for this vote so you could give it away. No one died for this vote so you can sell this vote. Nobody died for this vote so you can give it for a turkey or a ham or for a watermelon. Nobody died for this vote so you can do that. They died for a vote, for a ballot to help you improve the quality of your own life.
Right.
So when you ignite a people, we shall see in 83,
Yeah.
when you design a button that looks like this one, this is the original button,
That's right.
and I have it insured. So don't try to be taking my button. This is an original button, one of the ones that we wore in 83. And so as a result of that, when you go from a political campaign to a movement, to a crusade, no money, money that we got was good but not good enough. They had the money, but we had the people. We had the black church. We had coalitions of whites and labor movement people and all of that together because the time had come for us to stand up and use the ballot for ourselves. Well, I tell you now, after seeing the last two presidential elections and black people going to the polls with no agenda, with no demands, and ended up getting exactly what they asked for. Nothing. Because we didn't have our own agenda. We didn't have our own demands. When the lobbyists lobby with their suitcases full of money, they know what they want.
That's right.
When the big donors, as they will this weekend, come up with all of this money to go to these cocktail parties, they know what they want.
That's right.
They've asked what they want for what they want, and they demand it, and they use the money. Oh, they use the money. Money can't vote, but money can buy votes.
That's right.
Money can't vote, but money can buy politicians who buy votes.
Come on.
And that's what happens. But we don't have an agenda. We don't have anything to demand in return for the investment of our vote. We're just there, taking hope, history, and pride while we're suffering in the community and in the trenches. I'm one man with one vote, and I say to you, if you want my vote, I want to know what you're going to do about the violence in the community. Not just the violence in the community, but a cure for the underlying circumstances. If you want my vote, I want to know what you're going to do about jobs and education and housing and decency and improving the quality of life in exchange for my vote.
That's right.
If I support Chicago State University, and I do, don't come to me for my vote unless you tell me what are you going to do for Chicago State University. These are issues. These are agenda items. These are things that we must demand in return for the investment.
That's right.
We don't do that, do we?
No.
But we did it in 72 with Hanrahan. We did it with Ralph Metcalf. They dumped Ralph Metcalf. And they selected a hand-picked Negro to run. We defeated him and returned the congressman to the office because we understood what was at stake. And we understood if you educate our people, tell them what's in their best interest in the voter registration, and then make sure that after the election is over, to demand a return on your investment. That's my message. That's the power of the vote. That's where we are. Because I've grown sick and tired. I'm beyond Sister Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being betrayed. I'm sick and tired of your pouring water in my face and telling me it's rain. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being a spectator at my own parade, marching to a drum major from somebody else's band, marching to somebody else's music. I'm tired of eating cakes baked by other people. I want to bake my own cake. That's what Mason Hughes said. I want to bake my own cake. And so, in 2016, wherever you are, whatever you decide to do with your vote, vote your own best interests. Vote your own agenda. Vote to improve the quality of life for yourself and for your community, and stop. Oh, I know, man, you don't know anything about this. Stop fattening frogs to feed snakes. That's the power of the ballot. That's why you're here. And that's why we haven't lost that loving feeling. We just, it's dormant for a while. We're back. We need to teach. The literacy test in Alabama was taught in black churches. You can't have a successful movement without the black church. So come home, black church. Come home, black church, and help us to educate our people to work for their own agenda. Come home, black church. W.B. Du Bois talked about the talented 10th. Come home, talented 10th. I want you to be as concerned, talented 10th, about the KKK as much as you are about what's in your, what's that other thing? 401k, you know what it is. Come home, black leaders. Come home, black politicians. We need you to educate our people, to get our people out, to empower them to change the quality of life in the community, and the power of the ballot can do that. Tell the leaders and tell the politicians for me, we need you to stand up for this community. We elect you, and we need you to do more than us.
Come on now, say that.
We need you more for you to do more than just postulate. Just get your kick and do all of those things that are peripheral while we're dying. So in 2016, whatever your preference is, it's my vote. I can do what I want to do with my vote. What would happen in this election, Tim Black, if black people stayed home?
Wow.
Everybody talks about how important the black vote is, except black people. If you talk about it, then it's the race card.
That's
If you
right.
talk about it, then you're playing identity politics. Well, it's my vote. One man, one vote. And if I decide on election day to go fishing, we must fight. If we fight, we may lose. If we don't fight, we will lose. We must fight because Frederick Douglass was right. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. We must fight because Carter G. Woodson was right. It does not matter who is in power. Those who have not learned to provide for themselves and must depend upon others will have no more rights in the end than they had in the beginning. We must fight because Billie Holiday was right. Rich relations may give a crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but you better not take too much.
Yeah.
Your mama may have, your papa may have. Help me now, but God bless the child that's got his own. That's got his own. Paraphrasing Margaret Walker, let a new earth rise. Let the fighting songs be written. Let the dirges disappear and let a new people rise up full of commitment and courage and conviction, and now take control.
All right.